Hello, nice to meet you. What medication are you on? It's good to have you back here. It's day 78 on This Much Is True. How are you getting on? I hope you're doing okay. I was away for the last 2 days. It wasn't all this St. Patrick's thing. The amount of English and American cousins that have been in touch with me saying, how was your Patrick's Day? Hey, mate, do you enjoy a Patrick's Day? Well, you know what? I kind of cleaned the car, I think. Yeah, and I'm not the only one, because it's a big commercial rip-off these days. When I was young, I can tell you, St. Patrick was revered. We would go to Mass. We'd all go to Mass. How many people went to Mass this St. Patrick's Day? Oh, not me anyway. But that's how it was. You appreciated the day for what it was, and then you got absolutely scuttered out of your mind. Well, that was the kind of tradition anyway, and the diddly idle, pump up the paddy kind of vibe that you hear these days. But no, it was just a nice, serene day. And later on, I went out for a walk with me beloved. So I did. What were you up to anyway? Were you celebrating the Patrick's Day? Or it was just another working day for you stateside or in Blighty? Well, tonight, my friends, actually I must start on medication. I was at night school, only in the last few hours, and I was sitting there, and it's just weird, because it was only a day or two ago, I had nothing else to think about. I was saying, do you know, I've only ever had the one nosebleed, right? Think again, Marco. So I'm sitting in the class, and next when I feel a trickle, I go, I must have a bit of a cold. And oh, Jesus, by the rivers of Babylon. Like my nose was like flowing like the River Nile. Luckily, I don't know why, but just where I was sitting, there was this kind of a thing of like a toilet roll. Nobody else noticed, but I grabbed it and like stifled. It was a bit scary because it was kind of, I don't want to get anyone off their dinner, but it was kind of clotty, you know, and I think I have a suspicion. My wife, you see, she does my meds. I've meds that I'm on every day of my life now for forever. And maybe she put a few too many blood thinners in. It was weird. Because I remember thinking today, is there one or two more tablets than are normally there? Anyway, the aches and pains. It's got to be, though it has to be. It's such a money maker, isn't it? I remember saying to my doctor, how long will I be on these? Forever, said he. And Pfizer rubbed their hands with delight. And a good many more of them as well. Yeah, but it's like, some people are so bad at taking them, and they forget. I am not. I am like round the clock, starting at night, and then the rest of the shenanigans in the morning. Blood thinners, and I can't remember what half of them are. I just go, they're gone. And when they're gone, they're really gone. So, yeah, tonight I thought I might just slow things down. You'll notice I haven't got my urinal tonight beside me because Drumgool Splash Guards and myself are in a bit of dispute over the €15 an hour they give me. It hasn't been showing up recently, but they've been saying, well, neither has your viewership figures or advertising revenue. And I said, look, that's not the deal. You know, it's not many people are going to place a big urinal beside them. You know, you're the only guys. It doesn't matter how small my audience is. And they said, well. And I said, there's no point in paying me in splash guards. I want the real McCoy. Anyway, I thought we'd be a bit more civil tonight. You may notice the kind of Grecian urn type thing here. I will be talking about that later because it's relevant. So, what I got for you tonight is let's talk about appreciating time, slowing it down, and then I shall finish off with a story about how I brainwashed an entire office for many years, much to my amusement. So that's what I've got for you. I've laid out my stall. How many of us are really mindful? Now, I know this is a cliche, but how many of us stop to just take it all in? As many moments in a day as we possibly can. Personally, I think we are bombarded. Now, if you're of, parenthood age, I know what that is like. And as they get older, there's a whole different dynamic at work. But I'm talking about, as mine have got older, I do get a little bit more time to think. And I often don't find myself taking advantage of that time because business, the curse and the scourge of social media, busy work, the news, is it ever any good? So you're there and you're in a battle in your head constantly with the forces of like current affairs, like what's going on in the world or what's going to become of us and who's fighting who. To me, it seems everybody seems to be fighting each other these days. I mean, you've got black versus white. You've got men versus women. At times it looks to me like everybody versus women. Gay versus straight. Transgender versus the rest of the world as well. You know, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. What, you know, and when I do think and stop to think, I really imagine that without going there into woo-woo land, but I can't help but thinking this has been orchestrated. Either it's been orchestrated or some kind of a spiritual battle to be played out yet, for the better or for the worse, is to come. I've never known a time like it. And I think we're as good as the quality of information we're being fed. And don't fall into this, misinformation, missing information, perhaps, as opposed to misinformation. It seems to only ever be misinformation if government sources or narratives aren't being agreed with. But I don't want to go there. I'm just saying it's a mental fog between what's going on in the world and what's going on in your life. And I started by saying, do we ever take the time to be present? And I think you can do that from simple things like your breathing. There's a lot to be said for it. Also your attitude. I know that's corny, but you can't fake it till you make it. What I often do recently, if I find myself in a funk, as I call it, a mental funk, is I just get busy. I'll do a bit of gardening. Recently I cleaned the car badly, but I cleaned it. Tried to get to grips with one of these portable car washers. You know, you're walking around as if you're in World War II with a flamethrower type operation on your back. That was fun. So I did the car badly, but internally I did it well. I just get busy. But also, without, as I said, going overboard, I think there's a lot to be said for minimalism as well. Not this ostentatious stuff that's been shoved. When it becomes too luxurious or too ostentatious, I always think to myself, there's a fine line between that and vulgarity. Without going off on a tangent, but just putting my head over the parapet. For instance, there was like The Real Wives of Hollywood or something like that on. My wife was looking at it and we were both kind of like saying, look at the fucking state of, if this is what you have to aspire to, and the same with the whole Big Brother thing, if that's what living is, in the words of Billy Joel, then I'm moving out. I'm moving the fuck. I don't want to be part of this faux plastic people world. And I really believe if we can set ourselves, get a notebook or whatever. A notebook, I think, is great. Very much in the arsenal, if you pardon the expression, of Richard Branson. If you ever read his book, his original book, Losing My Virginity, he gives this kind of synopsis at the end as to how he goes about his working day. And he was a big fan, as I am, of the old notebook, And look, you're looking at a guy who sold millions of pounds worth of laptops. I was in that business in the very early days when there was some profit in it. Millions and millions, and all the peripherals that came with them, and desktops and stuff. And yet, the thing about, I have this beautiful new Mac Air book, and I am getting to grips with it. It's lovely. But I have to say, the thing about the diary around the old oak tree, That is my bizarre sense of humour. But, the thing about it is, look, you can write everything in it and then you can chuck it. And you don't have to worry that there's going to be a grand's worth of damage done to the screen if you do that. So I would say slow things down, get a notebook, get a routine going, get routines going, rituals, if you like, rituals. Like for a while I was getting up every morning at 6:45, about a year or two ago. I managed to hold out about 6 weeks doing it. And one of the things I would do, not for any mad religious purposes, but I would tune into the monks in Glenstole Abbey down in Limerick in Ireland. They have like a 24/7 webcam. And you'd see these guys come out and do their matins. Oh, yes, brother. I used to look at this particular poor old devil, and he looked like he wasn't a devil, he was a saint, I suppose. I'd look at him in the morning coming out. You could see them on the webcam, and, he was so bent over. He was suffering from furniture disease. Do you know what furniture disease is? It's when your chest falls into your drawers. So, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. You know when the head is like almost grafted onto the chest? And I'm going, what are they doing? Dragging this unfortunate out at 6:45. But yeah, that was dedication. So you'd have these beautiful scene of monks gathered together singing, oh, praise him. Lovely way to set up the day, if you like that kind of thing. Then again, if you want to go all whatever on it, you can get in the words of T-Rex, bang a gong, get a gong. Because gongs, if you've ever heard the expression clear the air, that refers to gongs. Gongs were used dong, because the vibes in the air would clear the air. Yeah, bet you didn't know that now. So there you have furniture disease and gongs, meaning of. So rituals. And one of the... you have to just look at most people, indeed myself included. You can look at a lot of us and say, well, what's your ritual? Is certainly not to work out every day. You can just look at people. Sometimes they're in great shape. And it doesn't mean they have any more time than you have. They have just chosen to use it in a different way, and obviously a more beneficial way, health-wise. But do you, in the words of Jordan Peterson, let's knock all that off for tonight, but, clean your room. Start off with something simple. Time for yourself as well without the infernal pinging of devices. Now, social media, it's part of my job. It's not a very return on investment, or certainly time one. So I might still use it, but I'm going to cut down on the whole Twitter thing and the TikTok. And if there's videos to be made or whatever, you know what? Do them, and then I will schedule, let's call the whole thing off, them so that they go out at different times. But I don't want to be sitting in front of going from, oh, what's happening here? Oh, and it's usually misery, isn't it? It's usually people fighting each other or whatever. So I'm just moving out mentally. Behind me, you will see this vase or vase. Ming dynasty. It ain't. Sorry, I'm trying to cater for the States and England tonight. I'll go the English route. So this vase, when I was a young man and a little man about town in my my late 20s, early 30s, I came at one point in my life where I had a fair bit of disposable income. So I bought, instead of renting, I bought my first ever apartment. It was short-lived, in about a year or so, because then I decided to marry a beautiful girl from Northern Ireland. And that was the end of the apartment. But anyway, while I was there, in a little bachelor mode, bachelor pad, that was one of the things I got. And then it's not expensive. But the decoration on it is quite nice. It's lovely. And it's just, how many things do you have in your house that are nice and pleasant to look at? My wife has got a great choice in, speaking of furniture, because I sat down the other night and I looked around, because you know the way you just take everything for granted. And I said, God, we've got some amazing furniture, haven't we? And I said, it's all down to you as well, because she has great taste. That does kind of happen to you, though. I've noticed in your maybe late 30s, early 40s, it does happen that you start saying, that's a nice piece of furniture. Whereas you used to say, that's a nice piece of glass. You say, oh, but you do. You start looking at things. Oh, the drapes in here are nice. Well, maybe it's just me. Yeah. But definitely, I mean, and your pets as well. They're so important. There's a cat there I'd nearly die from. He's Marvin. He's beautiful. And he's so looking. I know he doesn't know, but my daughter's coming back, please God, from Madrid tomorrow. And she always doted on him. And he saw her on a FaceTime the other night, and he went a bit bananas. You know, he could see her. He was looking at her because he knows it's been a few months now. But he's a beautiful animal. He's a beautiful tuxedo cat, you know. And I was looking at him today. He was on the fence looking down at me, and he's very regal. But when he's above me, he knows. So he's looking down on me in a very, like, yeah, I'm looking down on me kind of way, as much to say, you peon, you know. Whereas when I reach down for him, he doesn't like that, because that's reminiscent of a bird swooping down to grab him. And he doesn't feel so powerful then. But when he was up above me today and he knew I couldn't get at him, he was very, very regal in himself. So look, even if it's bird song in the morning, which is beautiful, if you take the time out to listen to it, it's not all about go-getter, jet-setter, grab them for all you can get, pile them high and sell them cheap. What I'm saying is a little bit of tranquility. Therapeutic. Why is it called that? It's therapeutic. It's therapy. You know, maybe it's just getting to a certain age. But I do think, slow down, you're going too fast. You got to make the morning last. Am I speaking in riddles or cliches? Probably. But am I connecting on some form with you that you need to just wake up, smell the coffee and the roses? Because we're all only passing through, amigo. And I think if you sat down, and I sat down with you in your house, if you were unlucky enough, or a friend of yours, sure, they could look around and remark upon things that you take for granted. And even just personal things, like if you're healthy, great. If you can see, fantastic. You know, it's not that long ago it was nearly all taken away from us. If you do remember, you can't meet him, you can't meet her, you can't gather, you can't go to funerals, weddings, you can't, you know, they sucked the fucking joy out of life. That whole, I will not get started on it. Isn't it nice just to shut up every so often? See what I mean? Phone goes ping. I couldn't even have that. And will I look at it? Oh, jeepers. My daughter keeps asking me to print stuff, and I wouldn't mind it. She's going to the States, and I'm running out of ink. She doesn't know that, and she's back in the embassy tomorrow. Oh, calm down. Anyway, look, I hope you know where I'm coming from. Just take some time for you and get into some rituals and start hiring some standards. Get your standards together. You know, that's what's wrong. There's no standards anymore. You know, I am going to eat this today. I'm going to drink this today. I'm going to make time for friends today. I'm going to listen to someone today instead of always talking. I'm going to clean my car. I'm going to get the things, like my car or my house or whatever, or those kind of functional things, and I'm going to give them a good clean and make sure that they're maintained well. God, that's boring, says you. Well, anyway, it just occurred to me. So, what else? Yeah, so here's how I brainwashed an entire office once. Before I do, I want to say hello to everybody. Hi, Nigel. I am not forgetting about... Who's that guy? Come up and see me, make me smile. Yeah, his name will come to me. And I know who it is, but it's just gone now that I'm here on air. Cockney Rebel. But the guy that used to sing in Cockney Rebel. Why do you do this to me, Nigel? Do Steve Harley. Okay. Oh my God. He's dead. God rest him. When did that happen? A day ago. Nigel, sorry to break the back news to you. 8:73. And you know, because of your WhatsApp to me, I was going to see if I could contact him. That's very sad. Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Not that I'd be taking advantage of something like that. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Because I know one of his influences was T-Rex. He used to clean up or something in one of the concert halls, and he saw T-Rex and it changed his life. Anyway, hello to the lovely Sue as well. Can I call you Sue? Is that too familiar? Or Susan? Susan in Yorkshire, who reminded me of some of the early TV shows on the BBC and ITV and stuff, and we will go through them. We will. But she also told me her first car was a was it a Triumph Herald or a Herald Triumph? It was one or the other, wasn't it? I used to call them the biblical car. Why is that? Because it says in the Bible, Moses came over the hill in his Triumph. Yeah, so we'll team up. Hi to Jerry as well. And Tara, if you are listening, that's my sister. This is dedicated to you. I don't want to forget anybody. So you all know who you are anyway. So there I was in an office, many moons ago, doing what I like to do. I was reading a music magazine and I saw Earl Brown. Do you remember Earl Brown? He was the snake-hipped. He took smouldering to an art form. He was the lead singer of the band Hot Chocolate. And, God, he was one sexy so-and-so he was. I believe in miracles. Where are you from? You sexy thing, you. And many more hits besides. I like that one as well. Girl crazy, crazy for a girl with a Malteser head like me. Because he had this little baldy head going on, yeah. And the tight trousers, you couldn't get a credit card through the cheeks in his arse. He was just so honed. Buns of steel. But he was brilliant, and he was a great front man. So I just there was an A4 picture of him, and I just did nothing, said nothing, and stuck it on my wall. And of course, within an hour or two, a nosy co-worker popped along and said, what's the story? I said, what do you mean what the story is? I said, that's my brother-in-law. He said, fuck off. I said, no. I said, what's your problem? You racist or something? Magic spell words, by the way, folks. Conspiracy theorist and racist. It'll always get people on the back foot, you know. No, I'm not racist. Yeah, well, he's married to my sister, so... What? Fuck off. Again, you know. No, he is. It's true. It's not, is he? I said, yeah, they've been married for years. Earl's a great guy. He's fantastic. And then you'd see this kind of compliance, like in the face, and a couple of more gathered round. What? Yeah, it's my brother-in-law, Earl Brown. I don't really talk about it, but he's a lovely guy. And they were, you know, after the initial fuck off, there was kind of, so what's he up to? Oh, well, I believe he's back in studio with the rest of the band, and they're recording they're cutting a few new tracks. You know, I knew all the terminology. Really? Ah, yeah. So they were over, where was it? I think it was, Air Studios in London. See, I knew all these names. Really? Yeah. Yeah, I actually flew over there at the weekend and hung out with some of them. You did not, did you? Lucky bollocks. No, I did. Anyway, he's a lovely bloke. And I go back to my computer. So, you see him often? What? You see Errol often? A couple of times a year. Sister and himself were getting on like a house on fire. And of course I'd Wikipedia'd him, and you know, I knew he liked horses and owned race horses. And I'd say, I was over in Cheltenham with him last year. He owns this racehorse called so-and-so, and it's done really, really well. Did he? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't want to make you jealous, lads, but we got flown over in a private jet. Oh, Jesus, lucky man. Anyway, you know, folks, this picture of Earl stayed on my wall, right, for years, beside my desk. And people used to almost, you know, pay pilgrimage to it. They'd come up and sidle up beside me and say, "What's he up to now?" And, "Oh, we were in Barbados. We've got it scheduled anyway, Barbados. That's where we're going next." And, yeah, he's made a lot of money recently after that last album went out. And he's off to Mirabel Studios in France. And then I think we're heading off with him to Geneva later on. Tara and himself are bringing some record executives. Anyway, well, folks, it went on for years. And one day, somebody asked me for the umpteenth time about Earl Brown. I said, "Well, you fuck off." I said, "I've been having you on for the last 4 years, you pack of fucking muppets." And that was the end of that. Day 78 of This Much Is True. Goodbye, y'all. Leave you with a little bit of Earl and the gang as well. Or should I say, hot chocolate. Sayonara.
As the bomb goes neutron, so for you and I, will the finger on the button decide if we live or if we die? The more you think, the more you blow your mind, the more you search for a reason, the less that you will find. Let's forget till we drop, don't stop. Music is the drug. Music is the drug we're searching for. Right, let's forget, don't stop. Right, let's forget till we drop. Dance. 900 or more commit mass suicide in Jonestown. Very strange, more than ever. The world needs God's helping hand. Confused, we don't seem to know what we're doing. Like a blind man, spinning round in space. Dance, mindless boogie till we drop, don't stop. Music is the drug. Music is the drug we're searching for. Mindless boogie, don't stop. Mindless boogie, till we drop. Dance. we are. Music is the drug we're searching for. Mindless boogie, 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 boogie.